What's going on, guys? Steve Pulaski coming back with another review, this time of James Wan's The Conjuring, okay? Shooting this moments after I just finished my way back review. Conjuring, okay? Gonna start off right now and saying this is probably the strongest horror movie I've seen this year, okay? But it's been a pretty crappy year for horror movies, so how much is that really saying? I don't know. The other good horror movie I did, that I did see this year was the sequel to the underrated, kind of bashed horror anthology VHS. I like that one. VHS 2 I'm talking about. This is probably one of the strongest horror movies next to that movie. VHS, a lot of people didn't like VHS. I can kind of understand why. It showcased a lot of independent filmmakers, which I think not a lot of people were like very... You know, the thing with the independent filmmakers was they used kind of like style tricks that I think a lot of the public didn't respond so well with. But I think VHS 2, they tried more. They tried to blend the stylistic measures with the like kind of more, a little bit more mainstream tactics, although not really. But I mean, I don't know. Anyway, don't want to get too much into that though. Definitely check out VHS 2. It's on video on demand right now. Anyway though, Conjuring, okay? Basically about these two paranormal investigators played by Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga. And what winds up happening, though, is this, before we get into them, that's what the movie kind of focuses on, but then it goes into a couple played by Ron Livingston and Lily Taylor, okay? Both actors who I love, especially Ron Livingston, who's doing some really, really great work nowadays. Anyway, so they live in the house with their 5 children, their 5 girls, actually, and they move into this, like, dilapidated farmhouse. It's in Rhode Island, I think, and they move in, and then they start hearing all the noises and everything. There's all this weird stuff going on. The house has, like, these different kinds of smells to it. It's just getting very odd. So, like, when it starts to affect seems to affect the girls mentally, they start going... They track down the wife. Lily Taylor tracks down the group of paranormal investigators. I think their names are Ken and Lorraine. Wilson, who are Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga. Vera Farmiga has done a lot of horror movies. She did Joshua and Orphan, which was really good. You haven't seen Orphan, definitely check that movie out. I love that one. That's probably one of the best. That was one of the best horror movies of like 2009 when it came out. But moreover, though, that's what the movie's about. The two demonologists, paranormal investigators, whatever you want to call it, they come in, they start trying to piece together this mystery. I like this movie a lot, okay, for a number of different reasons. First off, I like it because it's believable and not real. And let me explain. Nowadays, you're seeing movies like Paranormal Activity, The Odious Devil Inside, and these shaky cam movies. They can't even hold the camera still. And these movies now, you're seeing them, and they're passing it off as the real thing. Like the footage, the rough cut footage you are watching is the actual thing that you know what I mean, that happened. The Conjuring isn't like that. The Conjuring is allegedly based off a true story. Ken and Lorraine Wilson are actually real people. Ken is dead, I believe, and Lorraine is still alive. They're real people, okay? I'm not sure about this case. This case might have been real. I don't know for sure, though. But this movie isn't trying to pass off this movie as real. Like, you are watching the real footage. No, it's an acted thing, okay? And the movie is very clear with that. Based on a true story, take that with a grain of salt, I suppose. I don't know what to tell you on that note. It's such like a plea nowadays, you know what I mean, that you can just do that bullshit. I hate to use that word, but it's bullshit is what it is with the based on a true story. But I mean, like I say, it's hard to even find that stuff out. But anyway, though, I like it because it's believable and not real. That's the main reason I like this movie. Not to mention, James Wan directed this movie, okay? He directed Saw. That was one of his first movies, which was good. I liked the original Saw. I never saw too many of the sequels, but the original Saw was a pretty good movie, I'm not going to lie. I mean, yeah, you can fault it because it kind of made everything that's wrong with the horror genre now. I'm not going to lie, Saw did do some bad to the horror genre, but it also, I like it as a movie on its own terms because it is a good kind of like crime mystery, okay? It does get you involved a little bit, but as some of its elements, like the torture porn, it kind of kick-started that, which, you know, with the Eli Roth generation. But anyway, though, and then he also directed Dead Silence, which was pretty good. I remember it. I mean, I don't even know if I saw the whole thing, but I remember it was the doll movie. Okay, I remember seeing part of it. And then he did Insidious, which I liked, and a lot of people seemed to respond well to. Actually, the trailer for Insidious Chapter 2, not Part 2, not Insidious 2. Insidious Chapter 2. It's a book. But, That precedes The Conjuring. But anyway, though, now you could see James Wan evolve as a filmmaker, okay? Because he first was Saw, and it was more of the torture porn, okay? It was more of that torture porn with the kind of story infused into it, which is good. I think if you're going to make a torture porn movie, it's probably the best way you go with Saw, because I like, you know what I mean? I like that. There's a right level of mystery, and there's a level of, like, gratuitous gore to it as well. Very good. But then you go, what the hell is it? Then you go to Dead Silence and Insidious, which were more about creepy filmmaking, but also had a lot of mainstream elements infused, especially Insidious, which had those ghost elements. Now, James Wan is at the level of The Conjuring, okay? Now he's in the full stylistic hammer horror style filmmaking, okay, which I love. I think the closest thing I could relate this movie to is not actually a ghost movie, or it is a little bit, but it's The Woman in Black, okay? Very good movie with Daniel Radcliffe, came out last year. Nobody saw it. And the people that did see it, they, like I said, I think the problem nowadays is with movies, it's kind of the same thing that happened with Spring Breakers, was that a lot of people are going into these movies expecting their own thing, and if they don't get what they want, then they bitch and moan that nobody knows how to take something the way it is. Like, I always hated what you said. I always hate that saying. I used to hate that saying, take it for what it is. You're not supposed to, I don't think you're supposed to take it for what it is. I think you're supposed to look at it as its own agenda. You don't go into The Conjuring and say, I want a shaky cam movie in the style of Paranormal Activity, okay? And then because it isn't that, you get mad. What you do is, with The Conjuring, you go into it and you watch what it does. And this is how every movie should be with me. This is what I go into every movie. You go in and you try and look at it that way, okay? Try and look at it the way it's doing. It doesn't succeed. Try and look at it and see if it succeeds at what its goal is, okay? The Conjuring tries to be a creepy, stylistic movie that builds a lot on tension, and it succeeds a lot at that. I will say there are some good scenes of tension in this movie. There's enough build-up too. The characters are a little thin, but I did like the couple. The Ron Livingston and Lily Taylor, I do like that. But the girls are pretty faceless, I'll say, as far as characters go. But then again, though, with horror movies, this movie does give you enough time to, like, at least get a chance to, like, live in this farmhouse, if you know what I'm saying, before it actually stuff starts happening. Definitely going to recommend this movie, okay? 3 stars out of 4. One of the strongest horror movies I've seen this year. Definitely make time for it. Thank you guys for watching. I'm Steve Pulaski. I'll talk to you later. Next week, I'm going to try and do Blue Jasmine. And I'm thinking of what else is coming out next week that's big. The to-do list with Aubrey Plaza, I might see that, but I'm definitely top priority Blue Jasmine. Going to get that review on Influx Magazine, hopefully. Thank you guys for watching. Sub if you haven't. Talk to you later. Bye.